Hello and welcome to Andertons Music. It's the new year, 2015. My name's Jack. I've been on a hiatus, but I'm back with a throwback jersey. Well, not jersey, t-shirt. It's a few more years apparently on UK's best music store, but nobody's bragging. We're here with Emma, the lovely Emma, and she's here to demo the TC Helicon Play Acoustic. Would you like to say something about yourself other than the fact, I must say, she smells lovely?
So kind. Yeah, I'm Emma Stevens and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm very, very excited to be here today demoing this wonderful pedal.
She does sound fantastic. And we've got Craig, who's like in the corner. I'm a bit of a fan of Craig, but you'll find a bit more about that later. Sorry, Craig. Now to someone who really knows what they're talking about. Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But we're going to fake it, and we're going to make it. Cool, so today we're going to talk about Play Acoustic. It's a vocal processor and also a acoustic guitar betterizer, as we joked about earlier. Essentially takes your acoustic guitar and just makes it sound nicer, more full, a little less boxy and quacky, which these acoustic electric guitars tend to sound. So it gives you more of the sort of in-the-room mic'd sound on your guitar. And then we've got a bunch of vocal effects we can play with as well that will really sort of sweeten up the sound of your voice. Everything from dynamic and adaptive EQ and de-essing and compression and all that kind of stuff, right through to harmonies we can generate, doubling, reverb, all of those kinds of effects. So we should check it out.
You're like a rip tide dragging me away, adrenaline kicking in my heartbeat, thumping a rip tide underneath the waves. Hold on tight, 'cause it's the start of something. Gotta love this.
What I'm going to do, just to show you how things work, is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to find our body res here. I'll turn it to this is just the out of the box sound. I'm going to turn it off. So you've got, you know, this is one of the chord progressions you use. You know, it sounds okay, and it's got some reverb on it, which is nice. It's a TC electronic reverb. But if you crank up the body res, you get a much more full. Sounds much more like the acoustic guitar in the room, and that's something that people struggle with a lot, especially in these small kind of club gigs or, you know, a little pub or something. You just sound real boxy and kind of flat through the PA. So this thing can go directly into the PA in mono or stereo, and you can run the vocal effects as well. So let's check out some vocal effects, and we'll get you singing on these things. So we've got 7 different effects in this unit. So you got reverb, doubling, hard tune. So we call it hard tune, but it really is the gamut of pitch correction, from natural sounding pitch correction right through to this more stepped kind of auto-tune type sound, which TM, sorry. And we've got megaphone sounds in there as well, and then of course the sort of shiny stuff is the harmonies. And what it will do is it will listen to the guitar chord you're playing, and then listen to the lead note you're singing, and say, hey, what's an appropriate harmony for that voice?
That's great.
Do you want to hear kind of what it sounds like?
Okay, let's give it again.
Okay, so you've got a little button on your mic here.
1, 2, 1. Ooh.
There you go. So when I play the chords,
Go right ahead and make my day. I wanna shout, the sun's come out, and I won't make the same mistake. Go right ahead, I watch you walk away. That's crazy.
Isn't that cool? And of course, see now there's our first user tip for you, is you have to remember to turn the harmonies off when you're talking to the audience.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. But we've got the cool little hit button down here, and you were actually activating it with the mic button there, but you can use your feet here to turn it on and off as well.
Great.
The hit can actually encompass more than one effect. So we're using it right now to turn on and off harmony, but you could have a double or you know, a delay or a combination of a few different things come on and off at one time. The whole unit is preset based, so as I click these switches here, you go through a bunch of different presets. This is representing 2 high voices of harmony. If you want to hear the difference, let's give you a note.
Hey,
So then you get the 2 voices above you.
Oh, right, okay.
Then you've got a high and a low.
hey.
So you get the low voice in there, you know, and tons of different choices you can go from. But we get into, you know, you've got doubling, you've got, you know, an echo that you can play with.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right, and you can set the tempo for that so that it matches up with your song. Hundreds and hundreds of them, you know, right from...
Did that one say Gorgeous Hall?
I did, so just literally a straight up reverb. So
Nice.
there's just a nice, if you've got a ballad, if you want to just acapella me something. Right? And then, of course, talking to the audience, you can turn it off. So
I
that
have
it'll
to
be
remember
flat.
that.
Yeah, so you know, when you talk...
Normal.
Right.
And you're back to normal.
Trying to sell beer at the pub and then back to the reverb at the end of it. That's pretty much the product in a nutshell. You've got a couple of different modes you can use for outputs. You can go out in dual mono, so it's a DI from the acoustic guitar right to the board, and a mono signal for your voice. A lot of PAs in little clubs are just mono anyway, but you do have a nice stereo out if you want the big spacious stuff where things bounce around and all that kind of stuff. And super simple to set up and get going, and really compact, so when you take it, you can just throw it in your bag and take it to a gig and sound a lot better than you would just going straight in with a mic and a guitar.
It's like your own personal sound engineer.
Exactly, yeah, and that the tone feature that's in there is doing that adaptive EQ and compression and de-essing and stuff all on the fly. So if you don't have a sound person, or if you have the house person who doesn't know your music, it's a lot easier to tailor your sound to the specific songs that you want. You want the right things at the right time, and only you know what that's going to be. So
You swore I was the only one who really understood you. I bet I'm not the only one who ended with how could you. I should have guessed I would have left so I could be free. Just one thing before you leave. Go right ahead and make my day. I wanna shout, the sun's come out, and I won't make the same mistake. Go right ahead, I watch you walk away. Baby, keys I don't need to worry, you'll be coming back someday.
there you go.
I love that. So how would I use this in a gig scenario, for example?
Sure. I think the easiest way to do it is to leverage some of the little features we've got in here that let you do things like set favorites for presets and rename them and edit and that kind of stuff. So you can go in and you can assign a preset to a favorite. So you can see that's got fave up here in the top. And if I just press the favorite button, it essentially just flags it on and off as a favorite. If you renamed this preset, which you can do just through storing it, you could name it the name of your song.
Okay.
And then you could order the presets in the order that you're going to play the set that night. You can use our voice support software to do that, or you can do that right in the box. And essentially that brings your actual performance sort of operation of the unit down to, okay, song 1, I'm singing my song and I use the hit button when it's appropriate. Okay, now it's time for song 2. You click to song 2 and now I use the hit button when it's appropriate, and you can just straight through like that for the whole night. A lot of that is basically just work you're going to do up front, which is super simple to get started with, and then you can go as deep as you want. When I've done other examples and other songs in the past, I might have 5 presets for one song. You might have intro, verse, chorus, post-chorus, bridge, funky breakdown part, whatever it is. However much you need, you can just kind of expand it and contract it from there. But to just get started, using a single preset is still going to make you sound way better than you did before you used it. So I think something really cool we should show people is the difference that tone really imparts onto your voice. And it's one of those things that you kind of might not notice it's doing a good job of until you take it away and then you realize what's missing. So why don't you sing something a cappella a bit, and then I'll turn tone off partway through and you'll be able to hear what it sounds like off.
You swore I was the only one who really understood you. Wow, it just completely drops.
Yeah. So then we'll bring it back in. Keep singing.
I bet I'm not the only one who ended with how could you.
It just gives it that clarity and that
exactly
air.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting how when you do mixing on a vocal with music, often there's a lot of low end rolled off. There's a lot of like highs added and cuts made and things that individually you might say, oh, there's not enough boom to my voice, but then when you mix it into the music, it fits perfectly because it's accounting for the bass and the guitars and all these other frequencies that are sitting in that space. And it really makes your voice stand out. I think it's one of the most important things we can bring to sort of the mix is that you want the vocalist to be at the top of the pyramid. You want your audience to be able to hear what you have to say. They're not going home singing the guitar solo. Sorry, guitar players, they don't. But
unless it's Maya.
Exactly. But you want them going home singing your chorus, and if they can't hear the words, they're not going to get that. So that it really helps to get that going. So why don't we go through a couple of the other vocal effects we've got in here. I've done what we were talking about. I've set them up as the favorites. Great. So even though you might not see the presets sequentially numbered, you can see it jumps from 7 to 10 there as I press preset up. It's because I didn't favorite 8 and 9 in that sequence, so it just literally goes from 7 to 10. So I'm going to go back down here. We'll listen to some doubling, for example. So we'll turn hit on here so you can just sing something and got some doubling on your voice.
Hey, you swore I was the only one.
Bring it back.
Really understood you.
Okay.
Hey.
And you can set up, obviously, the tempo to be in time with your music. You can tap it in as you go, or you can set it up and save it in the preset.
I've got a question.
Yes.
So I've got my set list.
Yeah.
And I know that in this song, which is I know exactly what song I'd want for this.
Yeah.
I'd like a harmony, but I also want this echo.
Sure, yeah, you can assign both
Can you
to hit.
assign both?
Exactly. So it's really fast to do it. So I would go into the vocal setup here. They essentially just have what we call the style. So that's the type of harmony. A high would be like a third above kind of thing. A control here that's basically just on, off, or hit. So off is obviously off and you don't hear it at all. On is on all the time. So something like you'd use a reverb for. You want it to be omnipresent throughout the song.
Yeah.
If you just use a little control knob here, turn it to hit, now when this hit button is on, that harmony is turned on.
Oh, great.
So when we go through here, we'll see that the delay was already set to hit, and that's why it was coming on with the hit button.
Okay.
Now that I've added harmony to it, you'll be able to hear.
Anyone can watch the stars at night and try to figure out what it all means. Anyone can shelter from the rain and stumble on the person of their dreams. Okay, I pressed it a little too early.
A little
then.
too early, yeah. That's okay.
On the person of their dreams, and I wish I could help you right now. And I wish I could help you to breathe. This is for you. No. This is for you. No.
That's great. I love that.
So any combination of those 7
Yeah.
effects, including all of them or none of them, can come on and off with the
Okay,
hit
cool.
button. Yeah. Let's try, we got like a slap echo kind of thing, so it's a much shorter echo for you to sing with as well.
Hey, 1, 2.
So it's got
cool
the
for
oldest
Elvis,
thing
yeah,
that I
okay.
can't sing very well, but yeah, megaphone stuff.
Whoa!
Right, so
Hey!
you've got megaphone sounds or distortions, any of that kind of thing you can get
Love
going
that.
as well. Yeah, so it's got quite the breadth of the vocal sounds that you can mess with.
That's great.
A little bit more on the guitar stuff. If we get down into guitar effects here, we've got a few effects that we can choose from. We've got the Hall of Fame reverbs from TC Electronic are built into there with the algorithms,
Oh,
plus a whole bunch of
cool.
our own as well. I think we've got something like 20 styles or something crazy for the amount of reverb you can put on there. You've obviously got control over the decay and the pre-delay and those couple of
Yeah.
little tweaks that people might want. You've got what we call micro mod, which is essentially any modulation effect. So chorus, flange, a few things like that in there.
Great.
The styles in this particular one, I think, are mostly choruses. Let me just go through here. Some detuning. Chorus and detune in this one. And in something like Play Electric, we get a little bit further into some of that flangey, crazy stuff.
Okay.
It's more for the electric guitar player.
Sure.
This one is actually set up in such a way that as you change presets, the guitar sound stays the same. It's sort of intended to set you up with a nice sound for the night. You can turn on and off, say the micro mod. You can use our switch 3 pedal here to assign a guitar effect to it if you want to. If
Okay.
you have some chorus on this song but not on the next one, that
Right.
kind of thing. But essentially, you kind of set one nice guitar sound and then go with it.
For the whole night, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. We've also got in through here, so body res is kind of the big deal that makes these things sound not crappy.
Yeah.
It's a whole series of EQs and little bits of spatial kind of reverb and that kind of stuff that's all rolled into just these few styles. You've got very basic controls that are super easy. So you've got your kind of main style. So what you do is you'd sort of try them out and you say, oh, Body Res 3 works the best with this guitar or whatever. You'd figure out which one it is. You've got an ability to control the amount of it that's applied. So when I turned it off earlier, I just turned it to 0. So you can put some or full. We tend to like to turn it up to 10 because it's guitar. You got to turn it up to 10 or 11 if you got it. Yeah. And then you just got some basic EQ there. And then as we go further in, there's an advanced mode that gives you more control over EQ.
Oh,
so if you're the kind of person who says, I want a little notch filter here,
Yeah.
or I'm getting some feedback on this particular note and I want to just kill that
Cut it out,
particular
yeah.
note, I can do that. We can go in a little
Wow.
further here where You've got some compression that you can do, so you've got your threshold and your makeup gain and all those things that a compressor would be. If you're the kind of person who is listening to me say that, going, what?
No,
You can leave
I'm
it.
a geek.
No,
It's
but that's the
cool.
thing. It's cool if you're a geek, but there are a lot of people who aren't. And if you don't put it into advanced mode and you just use it in basic, you'll never see these menus. You'll just see the body res menu, and you
Sure.
can just choose which one you like the best.
It's not going
Which
to
is
be
cool.
confusing to people.
Yeah,
that
exactly. You
just
kind
wanna use it on a
of go as
basic
deep
level.
as you want. Yeah. One of the neat things we did about the notch frequency here that's kind of cool is that it's set up for the note. So if you can play a note and you're getting feedback on stage and you know what note that is, you can go like, oh, and that's what's making the feedback come in. You can actually find the note in here and set it. Oh, okay, it's it's a D sharp or whatever it is. And then you can dial that out a little bit, and you can get rid of feedback on that particular note, which is really cool.
That's very cool.
Phase inversion is obviously really important. If you've got loud monitors coming back with an acoustic guitar, you just flip that phase. Some people even put that phase button on a Switch 3 because you never know when you're going to need to kind of kill some feedback.
Straight
you can just,
away without having to kind of go in and
exactly,
on a
and then
gig,
you don't have to have one of those big sound hole killer things, the feedback killer.
Yeah,
You can just flip it out of phase, and it works really well.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really easy to dive in and get going with. My recommendation mostly for people is literally just sit down, plug it in, and just mess around with the presets. Just change presets, press the hit button. I mean, that could take you a week of having fun without ever feeling like that's the wrong reverb for this song. It's just, I like that sound, I'm going to play with it. Or you might get inspired to write something new or anything like that. Yeah. There's actually a looper built into this as well. So if you press these two buttons at the same time, you'll get access to a looper. It's like a one-track stereo looper with unlimited overdubs. It'll give you in stereo about 15 seconds. In mono, you get 30, and you can get rid of undos and get 60 seconds out of it. But a lot of times people are just doing maybe one chord progression. If you're playing by yourself, a really sneaky way to do something kind of fun in front of the audience is that as you're, say, singing the chorus, you're singing and playing, you set the looper to only record your guitar, and at the beginning of your chord progression, you start the looper recording. Nobody notices that you've done anything.
Yeah.
At the end of that chorus, you want to take a little guitar solo, and then you just hit play at the end of it, and your chords keep playing, and then you can just noodle a little solo over top, and then stop the loop when you come back out.
Great.
So, you don't have to necessarily be a loop artist, per se, or using it in that way with a bunch of beatboxing and that kind of stuff. It's like, there are some cool, sneaky ways to use a looper in just a regular acoustic set, so we threw that in there as well.
Brilliant.
Yes. Since I am no TC Helicon's Tom Lang who can guitar solo or anything, I will let you take the guitar responsibility here.
I get the responsibility.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
I've never done this before.
You've never looped before?
I've never
Okay,
looped.
so the whole key is just pushing the button on the downbeat. So
Okay.
as soon as you start playing that guitar chord, bang! And then when you're coming out, wait till
nervous.
the end of the
I'm
phrase, and then
sweating.
hit it again, and you'll be good.
Okay.
And I'll not talk into the mic and add something for you.
Okay. That's great.
And there's a boost for the guitar, so you get a little bit more volume out of it to get you over it. And then as you come out of your chorus, right, you would just stop the loop and keep playing your chorus chords. So that's a really interesting way to just, it gives you a little bit of something to play along with, especially solo. If you've got nothing else backing behind you, an acoustic guitar playing a solo is kind of lame. So this at least gives, something to play with.
So I gig a lot with my ukulele,
Okay.
and I just wondered whether or not it would work.
Yeah, I hope so.
I wish I had my uke with me.
You wish you had a floating ukulele that just happened to make its way in. Yeah, essentially the way that the algorithm works is it's looking for, a few notes of a chord in order to determine what's going on. And obviously a uke's able to provide 3-4 notes, and that's going to be plenty. So why don't we hear what the uke sounds like just going through the unit. I've got a little reverb going on there, so play me something. Sounds all right. Let's bring in that body res. See how it cleans up a lot.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
Why don't we try playing and see how the harmonies come out?
Do you ever stop and wonder why it's so damn hard finding Mr. Right? I swear it's just a Disney life. You only need to find a love once. Imagine my reaction once when you walked in the room. Once I found you, was never gonna let you go. I didn't hesitate, I couldn't wait. All the other guys just evaporated. Once I found you, I couldn't help but let it show. It must be love, 'cause my heart thumps, and I'm so glad I
So the one last thing I guess we should talk about is just the, as Tom refers to them, the gazintas and the gazautas. They're very straightforward on this sucker. You've got yourself the two XLR outputs, which is you can go, like I said earlier, mono for your guitar and your voice separately. So if somebody wanted to mix separately, obviously you have mix controls in here, you can do it yourself. But if you wanted the mono outs, you got it there. Pedal connection for the Switch 3 that we talked about, which you probably haven't seen on camera, so I will just grab, la-da, Switch 3! And then we've got an auxiliary input, so that's a stereo input for backing tracks or anything else. You can actually read key and scale from the backing track as well.
Okay.
So if that's coming in through there, you could run a keyboard in through there. It will pick up that same information. Guitar input and a mic input. A little bit of gain on the side to adjust, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. You know, as we talked about, obviously, you've got a very easy high level to start at. It's plug it in, mess around with some presets, and then when we went in there and did some editing, you see how as you decide that you want to fine tune your sound a little bit more per song or however you want to do it, you can get in there and dig and get pretty much as sort of advanced as you want in there. So it's a lot to learn, but very simple to get going. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming and hanging out. This has been really cool.
It's been great.
It's really neat to see somebody discover this stuff for the first time. You know, we see that happen at trade shows and stuff. People put on the headphones and sing it, oh my God! And we had a couple of moments like that with you, which is super satisfying to see that kind of thing happen. Really appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for Andertons for having me in here to squawk at you for a little while. These things are about 8 million pounds. We sell one, we're good. After that, it's fine. You can check out all the information on the Andertons website about the products and where you can get them, and hopefully you can pick something up soon and start having some fun with TC Helicon.